Kia ora, good evening, and welcome to the Huddy Hui, episode 122. We're into the final section of First 15 Rugby in the capital city, and we'll be previewing those games very soon. But first up, we're going to interview a young man who had his debut year for Poneke and Club Rugby, and started pretty much every single game in the first round. So Adam McRandle is our guest on the Huddy Hui tonight. Adam, many thanks for coming on. Reflecting on season 2024, what are the learnings for the team heading into next year?
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure to be on the Huddy Hui. Good question. I think just one thing would just be resilience, perseverance, I reckon. Had a tough run with injuries and a few changes here and there and squads and all of that. So I think we did well to get the wins we did, and we're close to a few others as well.
And who were some of those players that were injured throughout the season? Because some of them were quite key players too, weren't they?
Yeah. So over 2 consecutive weeks, Jacob Terrell, our starting 7, popped his Achilles and then decided to do the same the week after. So quite vital positions that you need in rugby. Isaiah, our winger as well, decided to break his arm during one of our games. So it's just all those niggly injuries that keep adding up. So, yeah.
This season you were a regular starter in season 2024. What did you learn from starting regularly at Premier level?
It was a bit of an honour really to be named first of all, just to be able to run out for that team. Like, I know a lot of veterans, a lot of good men who played for that team, so I was just honoured to pull the jersey on and play. I think big learning would just be the physicality of the game and the speed, and just learning recovery to get the body right, do it week in, week out.
What games this season did the team look back on and say, yeah, we should have won that game, and why?
Good question. A few of those games were pretty tough to swallow. The Parramatta Plummerton was one that sticks out to me. There was they went in as key favourites, and I think we took a good game plan and really executed it. We just couldn't get over in the last 10 when we had a lot of that ball and territory as well. Another one will be Tawa. They came out strong. We did well to fight back, and I think on the 80th minute we were within 7 to draw. So, yeah, just those games in particular. I think Ori's again on our Old Timers Day was another one. Just that last 10, 15 minutes really killed us in the end. So I think that's just the way footy goes, isn't it?
Particularly that Jimmy Gerbich game, you were with about 15 minutes ago to go ahead of Orioles and looked like for a win that many people didn't see coming. What actually happened there that resulted in Orioles winning quite comfortably in the end?
Yeah, I think there was a mistake on my end that I do recall that led them score a try. Ball popped out of a ruck and I went to pick it up and sort of basketball pass it to a player, and I got suplexed by Connor Lemon. So it was a bit of a welcome to Swindale Shield moment there. I just think towards the end they had a really decent period of play where they were just hot on attack, weren't really going anywhere, but they just broke our defence, and I think from there it's sort of the floodgates opened a bit.
You missed the Harden Cup, the second round. Why was that? Was it injury? Tell us why.
It was a bit of injury. I think the long season had caught up to me, especially with the amount of games and minutes I was playing. Rolled my ankle in the Poneke game, and also was having some concussion symptoms after that Poneke game as well at work, and wasn't feeling the greatest. So, yeah, decided probably not the best to play.
Of course, awareness around concussion, is it the first time you've experienced that form of injury in rugby?
Sadly, no. No, I've had my fair share of concussions here and there. I think I had one last year that went undiagnosed and so I thought probably just best to sit out. I had a good chat with the coaching staff and the physio, and they just probably said it was best just to rest, and then if we made the next week, we'd go from there.
Your debut season, who was your debut against, and how did you feel and find the occasion?
It was against Upart Rams, the first round, so it was out at Maidstone Park, which is a awesome facility. I think it was their first home game at the new hub that they've got, but like what we've got at Poneke. I think, just again, like I said, just being able to run out for that Prems team. I've been in all the senior teams in the club, from the Colts to the Prem 2s to playing a few games for 85s and looking up to those guys in that top team. So it's awesome to run out and be a part of it.
And you mentioned the senior teams you played for before this year with your Premier debut. What teams have you played for at the club? And to date, what has been the best team at the club you've played for?
I've pretty much played for every team at the club except for the women's, obviously. It's pretty hard to beat this year. Like, I played every game. I've always wanted to play Prems in that, so it was a bit of a dream to sort of be able to do that. But I think the Premier 2 team last year we had a very successful team, just couldn't get over the line in the end. It was probably my favourite year that I've had at the club so far.
In terms of this season, what was your best game and why?
You're hitting me with some good questions here. My best game, I'm not too sure. I'd like to say probably the Jabil game that we had the first one out at Helston Park. That was a good battle. That sort of we came away with the chocolates in the end. I just think we started off, especially in the set piece, a bit shaky, and then we started to get a bit more momentum and had a few on the run chats with my main man Mitch Goff. So working out how to fix the line out and stuff, and it just worked quite well.
We're going to come back to Mitch Goff later. He's one of the characters of club rugby, so I've got some questions to ask you about him as well.
Sure is.
Another one of these questions: what has been the toughest game this season for you?
I'd say the OBU game when we played Old Boys University. They're the side, no matter what grade, team, weight restriction, whatever, they're always putting out a good performance. And they've always got good quality players as well, especially their backs. If you kick them the ball in open space, it's what they live off. They just cut you to pieces. So I think we just couldn't really get into the game, and we didn't execute our game plan as much as or as good as we wanted to. So I think that was one that sort of left a bit of taste in the mouth.
Ross Bond was the head coach this year alongside Reg Goods and Nihi Munuskata, the director of rugby. What did you learn from them, and what did you learn from them to build into your game?
I think it was good having a bit of fresh blood in the mix. I think when you've got a World Cup winning All Black in your coaching staff, you're not going too bad. And then having all the experience that Bondi's got, it was just kind of pick their brains and work out what's best for us. Obviously, those two are backs, but I think just having Reggie there, who I've been coached by in some way, shape, or form every year I've been at Poneke. So I think just being able to fall back on him if it starts getting tough and all that. So I think just having that open communication with the coaches is really good. So I think that's one thing I really enjoyed.
Where did you start playing for Poneke, and why did you choose the Street Kids?
There's a bit of a story to it. So I played my juniors at Poneke. Then I started my senior years in 2019 when I left school. But my old man and all that avid MSP supporters, well, were, and so I was sort of expected to go down to MSP, but I had a lot of pride in it, a lot of fun in that juniors jersey, and I was actually coached by a good mate of mine, Ezra. His mum was my first juniors coach, and would always, after all the games I play at school, would go see across the road next year at him. So I sort of had no option really. So I chose the street.
Not when you got Sylvia telling you that.
Yeah. She's very vocal, so you do as she says.
Yep. Now, has lock always been your preferred position? And if so, why?
Yeah, my first ever game of rugby, I was actually playing prop, believe it or not. But
Oh, wow.
then I realised I was probably a bit too tall, and they chucked me in the second row, and I've sort of been there ever since. You know, I'd like to give a try at first five, but Bonnie wasn't too keen on giving that a go this year. See what happens. But it's always been locked, so I'll just stick. I'm happy to play wherever, so I'll play wherever. Usually 4 or 5.
Just the one try at Premier level this season, and as you mentioned, it was against Old Boys University. You said one of the toughest games you played. Talk us through that try. How did it come about?
I don't believe that was actually me. I haven't actually scored this year,
Oh.
so I'll take the credit for it, though. No worries.
Yeah. Club Rugby gave you that stat, so.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, thanks, Club Rugby. No, I'll take that. I think it was actually Charlie Ciali, but I'm happy. I'm sure he won't mind giving me one of his. I think, yeah. I think we were lucky to actually get that one as well. We could sort of put them napping with a quick tap on their 5 metre and just sort of dart it over. So, sweet as. I'll take it.
Now, one of the great things about the Poneke Rugby Club is it has a great live stream with John Jackson, the lead commentator. How great is John Jackson and his broadcasting skills? He's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, no, he sure is. He's one of the greats. It's actually, while I was injured, got to commentate with him for a half, which was quite good, just soaking up the knowledge. And I think, you know, he's got some great one-liners, so it's always a pleasure to listen to.
Now, of course, let's go back to, you mentioned you were a Poneke junior rugby player. You then went to St. Pat's Town. And tell us about your time there at St. Pat's Town.
Oh, well, yeah, St. Pat's was good. I think it was a good fit for me. I was a bit of a notorious. I was quite, wasn't the straight A student, obedient. But no, I definitely enjoyed my time there. I think it was a good fit for me. I had a great form teacher that showed me the ropes in the college life pretty quickly. So no, it was good fun. Lots of mates. So
now, of course, rugby at the college. You had the honour of 2018 being the captain of the second 15.
Yes.
Yes. How did you accept that challenge, and what did it teach you about leadership?
It was I took it with 2 hands really, because I tried to didn't play first 15 while I was at school. I think I played 1 or 2 games, odd cameo off the bench, but wasn't a all-out first 15 player. So I think I tried to crack it and obviously didn't make it. And I thought I'll just grab the opportunity of 2 hands. So no, yeah, I think it just taught me to stay calm in really high pressure situations in a way, just to be able to talk to the boys and ask them to do acts on the field and back it up. So that was good.
Reading the patrician from that year, your coach Al Turrell said that you were quite a good after-match speaker.
Oh yeah, I do think back to it now. I did have some doozies, but I also had some good ones as well. I think the first game we had in the round robin, I sort of got blindsided thinking we had to do an aftermatch, and then I sort of learned from there, being in that grade that we were in, most people have an aftermatch. So I learned pretty quickly to bring some sentences together and thank the hands that prepare the food and whatnot. So
course, you mentioned you weren't in the first 15, but you said you had a few cameos off the bench on 2 occasions. Do you remember what those games were?
I know one of them was a sports exchange we had up in Hastings against another Catholic school, St. John's. I think one of the guys was either sick or injured, and so we played our second 15 game, and then I got sort of tapped on the shoulder by the coach saying, hey, we might need you to run it back for another 20 minutes or so. So it was good, and it was good to get the opportunity and run out. And the other one, I think, was a pre-season. I like to count it, but it probably doesn't.
Yeah. Still does. So what's it like when you actually go out there and represent the first 15? Because not a lot of people get to experience that opportunity.
It's pretty surreal. I think for me, I was just a bit starstruck and kind of just wanted to not make mistakes, just sort of fit in and keep the energy flowing, keep it moving, not too stagnant, just keep it all moving in the way that it was meant to go.
What was your best game of rugby at the college?
I'd probably say my last game. It was against Wellington College, at Wellington College, and it was one of those typical Wellington days where it decided to rain horizontally on their number one field at about that time of year at the end of the season into a bit of a muddy pit. So it was just it was a great game that we played. I think we went down in the first half and eventually clawed our way back into it. And by the end of it, you couldn't tell who was in your team. The jersey, you were so dirty, you couldn't tell who was in your team. You just tackled anyone that ran at you.
Now, we're talking off air. What do you do during the week for work?
So I'm a painter and decorator by trade. Also specialise in wallpapering. So, yeah, left school and sort of twiddling thumbs about what to do. Really wasn't really for me, so I thought I'd get into the trades. And lucky enough, my current boss now, I know through family connections and that, and I've been working with him through the summer holidays at school, and just sort of flicked him a text and asked if he needed a hand, and the rest is history, really.
What has rugby taught you as a person?
Probably a bit of perseverance and resilience, I suppose. Just taking that to day-to-day life, like you get dealt some bad hands every now and again. You just got to play with what you got. I think, yeah, resilience as well. Just, you know, when you're on the field and you're buggered, you're sore, you can't feel your legs. You know, you just got to learn to keep going, keep pushing through it. So I think that just sort of take those lessons I've learned into life as well. Just keep going. There's always a better day.
And what other sports do you play or have played outside of rugby?
Since I've left school, I haven't really played any other sport than rugby. But during school, I used to do rowing. I rowed for about 4 or 5 years, and I just saw it as a way during the summer to stay fit, strong for the next rugby season, really.
And you managed to go up to, or attend the Māori capital during those times you were rowing at St. Pat's Town?
Yep. So we went my first year, which would have been in 2015, rolling the years back now. But we had a bit of success. Me and a few the other boys, we made a final, but we missed out by, I think, 0.004 or something like that. So it was close, and we had a good run, but it was not to be.
Now, we mentioned Mitch Goff before. I saw a post from him last week that he had been somehow accepted a visa to the UK. Is Mitch Goff going to be a loss, or is he just a pest?
I think he definitely will be a loss. Definitely, he's a character through and through, and he's always positive, always chatting. He's always talking. As he might have noticed through our live streams, he's always having a good chat to the rest of the sometime. But I think, yeah, definitely a big loss for the club and player, also character and culture at the club as well.
Speaking of Mitch, there was a viral post that went around on Facebook and Instagram. It was the round one of the Hardham Cup against Norths, and Mitch scored this try and had this rather eccentric try celebration. What was your reaction when you saw that?
That's just Mitch at the end of the day. I think he scored a few tries, so we knew a celebration was coming. We just didn't know it would be that celebration. I think I'll give him an 8 out of 10. If he landed it, I'll probably give him a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Now, of course, we're into the semi-finals of First 15 Rugby, which you know all about the battles between a lot of these schools. We're going to look at the first one here. You're going to be making your predictions. Wellington College and Scots. Who do you think is going to win this one? Scots lost to Wellington College in the round 2 earlier this season.
That's a good question. As the years gone on, I've sort of paid less and less attention to the first 15 and who's in form and who the players are. But I think I'll take that stab in the dark here. I think Scots will get that. They've been a bit of a powerhouse in recent years. I know their season hasn't been too good this year, but I think they'll pull one out of the bag.
Yeah, it will be an interesting one. I'm going to go Wellington College on that one for the fact that they've had the win over them already, but they're playing on that number 1 field, which they call the Graveyard, and at this time of the year, as you know, it's a bit of a bog, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is a bit of a graveyard.
Now, of course, this is a bit of Catholic banter here, but it's Silverstream against St. Pat's Town. These two teams played 2 weeks ago, and Town losing that day to Silverstream. Silverstream at home should be comfortable, in my opinion, at home, but history has shown in 2015, Town went out there and they bet Silverstream, unlikely in a semi-final. What do you think is going to happen here, Adam?
Yeah, it's always a tough ask to play Silverstream at Silverstream, no matter what. Again, like OBU, no matter what team, what grade, you're always in for a real tough game. And I think I only beat Stream once out at Silverstream, so they really value their home ground. I'm a bit one-eyed, so I'm going to say Town get up and over. I do remember in 2018 we lost our traditional, I think, to roughly the same score, and then came back in the final and really took it to them and almost won it. So I think Town have enough to get over here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Silverstream based on the form 2 weeks ago. But you mentioned that 2018 final. Of course, the traditional was very one-sided, but Keelan Whitman came to life in that final and nearly won the game for Town that day. Yeah,
he sure did. It was a good day. Good day for rugby. You know, it was if I remember correctly, it was a beautiful Sunday afternoon out at Poneke Park with a vibrant atmosphere of both teams and both supporters really wanting their school to win. I believe Silverstream bought a chainsaw with the chain taken off to add to the atmosphere, so it was good shenanigans. I think Eamon Pyer got a runaway intercept in the opening minutes that really set Town up and win it. But that Silverstream team, if you look through their names, a lot of them are either at NPC or they're on their way or they're in the league systems that they got now. They had a squad, yeah.
What plans does Adam McRandle have for the off season?
Yeah, I think just a bit of recovery. My body's still a bit sore from the season, but I think just mainly for me would be putting on a bit more weight during the off season and try and be a bit more of a competitive weight with playing in the Prems grade. Like I definitely learned this year, it's a lot more physical and the speed's a lot faster, and just being able to throw the weight around a bit more would be definitely handy for my game and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think just putting on a bit more weight, getting in the gym, getting stronger.
As you mentioned, your going to come back in 2025 for Poneke. Who else is coming back, do you know
of? From what I know of, hopefully most of the boys. I hope so. We've got a good core group that I think we made lots of headways and those connections and that chemistry that you want on and off the field. So hopefully, as I was talking to the boys a couple of weeks ago, a lot of them are coming back and they're excited. Obviously, with Mitch not going, there's a big boots to fill in the hooker position, but I'm sure we'll find someone just as ecstatic as Mitch.
And of course, there's a test match in Wellington this Saturday. All Blacks Argentina. Your thoughts on this one?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I think the Razor era is still getting the ball moving. But I think the ABs will come away with that one, mind you. I know the Cape Tin hasn't been the greatest venue for the All Blacks over recent years. I remember we lost to South Africa a couple of years ago, and there was a draw against Australia with Bledisloe.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully the ABs can get over for that one.
Well, Adam, it's been great having you on the Huddy Hui tonight. Well done on a great season for Poneke, and hopefully we'll see you around the rugby paddocks next year.
I'm sure we will. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. So there's Adam McRandle, who's had a great season for Poneke this season and done extremely well. And it's great to see him developing as a rugby player and a young man and going extremely well. Well, we've got a second guest coming up very soon, so hopefully he'll be in. So as always, we like to thank our sponsors. That is Mike Pinfold, Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited, Jean Hickton, Funeral Directors, and of course Louise Reddy of New Zealand Travel Brokers. Always helpful helping Huddy Sports, and particularly our broadcasting. And also, just a reminder is that if you're looking to sponsor Huddy Sports or looking to help us keep our broadcast free, head to huddysports.co.nz or flick us an email at huddysportsnz@gmail.com or follow us on our Instagram or Facebook pages. We're always there. Now, of course, our feature game this Saturday is going to be Wellington College and Wellington College and Scots College. Semi-final. It's a repeat of round 3 back in June. And what a stunning finish that was. Of course, Scots dominated the first half. And they ended up nearly keeping out Wellington College. Wellington College with a slow start. But they managed to call the way back Wellington College. And they got a good win at the end through Kingston Hill, who scored a ripper of a try to give Wellington College the win that day. So Scots will be looking to bounce back. They had a narrow win 2 weeks ago over against Tawa. They only won by 1 point. So, so that will be a big battle out there. And of course, the other semi-final, as mentioned, is Silverstream and St. Pat's Town. And of course, that game there in particular was a brilliant display by Silverstream 2 weeks ago, putting nearly 50 points on St. Pat's Town. So anything could happen in that game. Now, our guest has arrived, and this young fella is a promising fitness trainer who's going gangbusters on Instagram, and he's also from a rugby background as well. And Tim Johnson, known as Tim Johnson Fitness, is joining us on the Huddy Hui. Tim, many thanks for coming on.
What's up, bro? Good to finally connect.
Oh, it's been good. We're trying to get this going for a while. Now let's talk about your Instagram page. It's been going very well, particularly this season. Tell us about it. How did it come about?
Yeah, man. So I've been into fitness for a long time. So it basically all kind of started out in high school. Typical. By the way, give me some scope for your show. What is?
Yes, well, we're mostly a rugby show, rugby orientated show here in Wellington and Club Rugby and that. So,
right. And as far as what can and can't be said, I mean, I'm notorious for seeming to cancel myself on the odd occasion. What's the go with that?
We'll try and keep it as PG as possible, Tim. That would be good.
PG as possible. Roger that. Okay. Well, apologies. Just reel me back in if I go too far. But yeah,
No, that's all good.
As far as my story goes, man. Like I said, always the fat kid at high school. Basically got to high school. And early on in my kind of high school career, I was actually thankful for it, but I ended up getting put in one of the lowest classes. My school was a little bit different in the sense that they actually ranked you from the smartest geezer to the dumbest bloke, and they were like, you are in this position here, and you've got to make do with that. So that was definitely an eye-opener for me. I got put in one of the lowest classes. I came into high school as one of the bigger kids, fat, and as you can imagine, being basically fat and dumb going into high school, there wasn't a lot I felt I had going for me, and it essentially, as you can imagine, being at school at the time, you know what it's like with teenagers, just got ripped to pieces. But in hindsight, I'm really glad it happened, because I'm one of those personality types where it got to me, but it got to me in the best way possible, where I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then that's kind of how it all started. So I devoted myself to learning. And, you know, at the start, it wasn't anything special. It was me basically just going on a turbo shred, eating like an apple a day, doing ruthless amounts of like jump rope cardio to start with. And it worked. Like it got me in shape. But that was basically where the journey started. And I fell in love with results. And from there, I fell in love with training, devoted my life to learning more about training, more about health. And obviously being at high school at the time, I had goals to basically, you know, make it to the first 15. That was a huge goal of mine at school. And then after leaving school, now I'm kind of condensing the story a little bit now, just for time purposes. But after leaving school, I wanted to join the Air Force as a PDI, physical training instructor. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I didn't get the opportunity. So I couldn't afford to put my life on hold. Ended up going to uni. I was studying screen and television of all things. After about 10 weeks, the opportunity to be a PDI came up again. So I went into the selection board. It was a 3-day selection process where essentially I went down to an Air Force base. They put you through 3 days of fitness testing. They test your public speaking ability, your resilience, treat you like the dirt on the bottom of someone's shoe. And mate, I just absolutely fell in love with it. I remember walking into my term 1 feedback from uni saying, and my feedback basically was, don't try balance 2 careers. And it was great because I was like, well, on that segue, I'm leaving.
Oh, good.
And joined the Air Force, and that basically, I've been 2 years in the job today, and that brings us up to now.
Yeah, just tell us about the Air Force in particular, your main motivation for joining that section of the armed forces.
Yeah, so it was interesting. When I actually decided that this was the route I was going to take, I'm ultimately a trainer, man. Like, I love health and fitness. This is my life. I've devoted my life to it, and that feeling I got when I was a young man, what I describe as the peak human experience, it's my goal to share that with as many people as possible, and I wanted to find a way to do that as quickly as possible whilst earning money, because one of my end goals was, okay, I wanted to, at the time, open up a gym. My goals have since changed, but out of high school, I was like, yeah, I want to build my own gym, and for that, I needed money. I also wanted a sick job and a job where I could also achieve that goal as well. So I was like, it's got to be this physical training instructor role. And the Army, ironically, at the time, which now isn't the case, you needed at least like a level 1. You needed at least a 1-year qualification. The Navy didn't really tickle my fancy because you have to be on ship. I didn't really fancy living on a ship. So then Air Force it was.
Now, of course, one of the things as well as being a fitness and a PT instructor, particularly with the Air Force, you're pretty handy in your skills and social media. And, of course, social media is the tool of actually selling your brand, what you do. How did you learn those skills? And how did you use them as a tool to sort of get engagement with what you're doing?
Yeah. Good question. Good question, man. So like most kids of the Gen Z era, when I was young, I had the dream of being a YouTuber because I
Yeah.
thought, what a great idea. Don't actually have to do any real work, and I can just make videos and be a plonker on the internet and try and make money that way. So that was initially my motivation for getting into making videos and doing that kind of thing. And then obviously, as I got older, that became, well, not not a super distant kind of goal or as such, but it's weird how they've kind of morphed together. My love for fitness and my love for videos kind of in a weird way somehow like had a weird like YouTube, Instagram fitness baby. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like somewhere along the way they kind of intertwined, and I was lucky that I had that passion to start with because man, I look back. I mean, you can go onto my YouTube channel. I've still got it. Like 8 years ago, and see like the first YouTube video I made, and it's terrible, man. It's shocking. Like literally, it's painstaking to watch. I have to cover one eye when I'm watching it. But yeah, I learned some skills, and over the years I've refined the skills, and I'm still learning. You know, and just it's just small things like with the videos in particular. It's like, okay, what's one thing I can improve on a video for next time? And like something I've started recently playing with, you can probably tell from the background, is like lighting. Okay, I want to try and improve the lighting in my videos. For next week, I'm going to focus on this. Next week, I'm going to focus on audio. Next week, I'm going to focus on using this tactic, using that tactic. And it just, over time, it has improved.
And what's your level of engagement like? Do you, and since you've, particularly the last 2 years since you've really taken off, what level of engagement do you get, particularly on your social media?
It all depends, man. Social media is a weird game. It's a weird game. I mean, it depends. It literally depends. I've had one video blow up. Now, let me know if this is too un-PG, but I basically made a video on semen retention for optimal testosterone levels. So a protocol that you can do in order to optimize your testosterone. And I basically explained what the protocol was, how it works, and the effect of it, and mentioned some basically peer-reviewed literature in the reel, and it exploded. It ended up getting like 7 million views. Every time I logged into Instagram, it was just like 8-9 people had reposted it on their stories. I was like, what niche of the market have I hit here? Like, what's going on? But it was kind of like that. It's like a look maxing or like masculinity maxing niche. It was weird. I don't know. They have these weird social media like terms for these things. And yeah, it just absolutely exploded. At the moment, generally speaking, I tend to reach or engage about like anywhere between 100,000 and 200,000 accounts a month, which isn't huge, but it just depends. It depends on, and engage means, generally speaking, like, watch, comment, see a post, anything like that. That's like considered engagement.
Now, when someone messages you about having a fitness program or ideas, what are the keys to success that you pass on to these individuals that want to explore what you do?
Most importantly is why. So why are you messaging me? What has got you to this point? Everyone messages me for a different reason. Sometimes it's fat loss, sometimes it's muscle building, sometimes it's insecurity, sometimes it's gut issues. Literally, it can be anything. So the most important thing for me is, okay, you and so I can help you, but you need to determine your why.
That's a great answer there. Now, you mentioned you're Auckland born and you played for the first 15. I believe that was for Auckland Grammar. Tell us about your time.
Correct, yes.
Tell us, this is a rugby show and more likely, but a bit of fitness as well. Tell us about your time for the Auckland Grammar first 15. How many years do you play for the first 15 and how many games?
Yeah, so I was an unlikely candidate for the first 15, mainly because I actually wasn't very good. I kind of, you know, like every high schooler in my first year, we called it third form or year 9 at Grammar. Played for like the under 15s team, never made the A team. I was in the B team. Eventually, after time, got promoted to the A team. And it's funny because a lot of people a lot of people look at like what I do now and they're like, oh, you were always the athletic kid at school. It's like, no, man, I was the opposite. I was the kid in the B team. I was the fat kid, the kid in the low class. Like, no, that's not the case at all. I just did my best to not quit. And that was the story. Like, I slowly moved up the ranks and went into year 10. Played under 15s again. Then in my fifth form year, about the middle of the road, I was playing third 15. So again, most people don't even play third 15. Some schools third 15 doesn't even exist. So I was playing third 15. That started to get me recognized in kind of like the open weight categories, because I think generally speaking, it's more, in my opinion, at least respected, playing open weight. And then from third 15, I trialed for the first 15, narrowly missed out, was pretty gutted, made it like through all the training camps, and then right at the last cut, I got cut off. So played second 15 in my final year, in my second to last year of school, and then in my final year, made the first 15. And mate, let me tell you, it was the best rugby season of my life. Like, nothing ever in my head will top that. The King's Grammar game was the final one that was ever televised. Mate, best day of my life.
Yeah, talk about that game. We don't get to interview many people that play in a King's Grammar game. Tell us about that experience.
Well, I mean, what can't I tell you? Like I said, best day of my life, bro. I remember, I mean, to tell the story, you kind of have to go to the start of the week. Fortunately, so the way it works is they alternate every single year. So they play Kings at Kings one year, at Grammar the next year, at Kings one year, at Grammar the next year. I was just fortunate enough that in my final year of school, we were playing at Grammar. So it was a home fixture. The whole week leading up to Saturday, Sky comes along, towers start getting put up, bleachers start getting put in place. You see cameramen moving big cameras in. You go to training, the messaging is all about, okay, no, let's keep it relaxed, boys. Like, don't worry about this. And this is all just, on the side. Just let's focus on our process. But you can't not. It's the occasion of the year. It's, for me, the occasion of 5 years. I'd never played before. This was the one game. My goal was I just want to play in this game. And the cherry on top would be if we won. Anyway, you turn up on the morning of, and it's like any other game. Everyone's zoned in. Everyone's listening to their music. I took a little walk around the field. I can even send you some of these videos, but I took a little walk around the field before anyone got there, just to embrace the atmosphere. But we're just jamming out, dancing in the changing rooms, listening to some music. I'm sure boys that play rugby will tell you this. It's the exact same. And then you go out there, and all of a sudden, everyone's there. I think it was like 8,000 people there, 7,000. Yeah. I don't know. The most people I've ever seen, like at a non-stadium fixture. The crowd's roaring. Like All Blacks are there in some regards, and it's just like mate, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And yeah, we got out there, and honestly, fastest game of my life and most tiring. Like, it felt like the game, like the first half, I blinked and it was over. And I've never also been so knackered in my life. I remember there's a video of like us all in the circle and our coach giving us a debrief. And I remember my brother sent me a video. He's like, yeah, go Tim. Mate, I remember standing in that circle thinking, how on earth am I going to play another half?
Now, of course, let's go back to your role with the military fitness training. Tell us about the lifestyle of that down there, because I believe you're based in Blenheim.
Yeah. So I live in Blenheim, the almighty Blenheim. It's as far as the lifestyle goes, honestly, man, like it's pretty good in terms of consistency. So generally speaking, it's a 7:45 to 16:30 kind of job. So not, 8-9 hour-ish days, generally speaking. Within one of those days, you'll take 2 or 3 classes, depending on how busy you are. So that involves planning the class, setting up the class, actually running the class. And classes will vary between having anywhere between like 8 people all the way up to like 40 people. So generally speaking, you'll get some numbers, you'll plan a class, depending on whatever the goal of that is. So we also write syllabuses, where we will program different classes for them. So if you refer to the syllabus, if on this date it's got this training session, which is like a run class. You'll plan a run class, and then you'll go out and actually take it. So you'll run a warm-up, you'll run a little game, and then you'll actually run the class as well. Obviously, it varies depending on what we're doing. Like sometimes you'll run like exercises where you have to start at, like, for example, I've started at 2 a.m. before and gone till 4:30 the next day, where the aim of those exercises is like, really trying to put pressure on people for that kind of that growth piece. You're really trying to see how people perform under pressure.
That's fascinating, particularly the under pressure factor. What are some of the other training methods that might be a bit different from just being in a gym for military style training?
Good question. What's particularly different? We do formal classes. So formal classes is basically a class where you do a series of movements, but you have to stand in a certain position. It's called the PT ready position, and you're not allowed to move. So it's a discipline testing class. So if there's sweat coming off your forehead, you can't brush that sweat off. You got to let it drip into your eyes. If there's a itch you want to scratch on your elbow, you cannot scratch that itch, because as soon as you move, it ends up in resulting in repercussions for the entire class. So that's definitely something that's different. It's very, very formal. An instructor will demonstrate an exercise. They'll give words of command to make students or trainees or recruits or whoever it is move into that position. They'll literally, again, using commands like lower and raise, allow do like what's called a control phase and control them through the exercise, stand them back up, give them a set of repetitions. It's all very, very, very stop, start, controlled, don't move, discipline. If you don't have the discipline required, then you get like a repercussion or a reminder. Another class we do is like a ropes class. Ropes classes are awesome. That's basically where we teach people how to climb the rope by numbers. There's a video or a reel on my Instagram page. That one's done quite well. I think that's at like 100K-ish views on how to climb a rope. So that's like very basic level of what we teach on how to climb a rope. And then there's also battle PT, like logs classes, which are great. Like the classic David Goggins, like, who's going to carry the logs? That's us is the short answer.
Oh, fantastic. Now, what are your aims in the future with your fitness program journey? What are you hoping to strive for in the future?
I want to go full-time online. I'd love to go full-time online, try it. At the moment, I'm doing a little bit of both. I'd love to be able to travel around. So my definition of success, and everyone's got a different definition of success, but my definition of success is freedom. So what does that mean? It means financial freedom. It means location freedom. It means time freedom. And for me, in order to get there, like one of the key goals I have at the moment is I want to buy my mum a house. And in order to do that, obviously, I'm going to need money. And I would love to think that the business I'm trying to scale is infinitely scalable, depending on how hard I work. Whereas the disadvantage with a salary role, a 9-to-5-ish kind of role, is that you've got a ceiling. You could work 5 times harder than the guy behind you and the guy in front of you, but if they turn up to work, you're all getting paid the same. I am a huge believer in meritocracy, which is you achieve based off your merit. And I think business is basically the only way in the modern day you can do that.
Fantastic answer, Tim. Now, we'll finish off with 2 important games of rugby. Wellington Lions, which is my home team, take on Auckland this Friday. Who's going to win? I'm going to go Wellington.
Oh. Good question. Now, I think it's going to be very close, but I think Auckland's going to take it.
Okay. Well, I knew you would go that way.
I'm backing the boys.
Now, the other game of interest is down here in the capital, the All Blacks and Argentina. What do you think some of the selections are going to be? Do you think they'll start Sam Cane at 7 or keep Dalton and Papali'i there?
Nah, I think they'll stay with what's working. I was actually quite surprised by the All Blacks selection this year. I thought it definitely wasn't what I expected. What were your thoughts?
Definitely rather interesting selections. I thought the selection of Stephen Perifeta at fullback, Hida Barrett, was an interesting one. But when you think of Beauden Barrett, early in his All Black career, he was an impact player off the bench. And of course, the second test against England at Eden Park showed why. He changed that game.
And the World Cup final was that 2015 against Aussie?
2015, yeah, same as well. So, yeah, I think in my opinion, Beauden Barrett in particular is better coming off the bench. He adds that more spark and speed, which is needed in the later stages. So.
Yeah, and we've seen that, their last game with England, he had a blinder with the one at Eden Park. Last 20 minutes. Just going to try and... excuse me.
Yep. So, in particular, I think the All Blacks will win that, but the Argentinians will be up for the challenge indeed. Well, Tim, it's been a while trying to get you on, but we got it done. All the best with your program, and if I'm ever down in Blenheim you call it, we might try and catch up, but you won't get me lifting any logs or climbing ropes, I can tell you that. So.
All right, well, we'll start with dumbbells and we'll progress from there, but I reckon I might get you lifting a log here or there.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All good, mate. All the best for the evening, and take care.
All right, brother. Catch you later.
Catch ya. So there's Tim Johnson doing great work on Instagram, creating a profitable fitness for himself. So just a reminder, folks, our game this Saturday, Wellington College, Scots College, semi-final from Wellington College, 2:30 p.m, live on Huddy Sports. And our coverage of that will start at 2:15. So we look forward to having you watch that game. It will be an absolute beauty. If it's anything like last time, Kingston Hill in the corner, going in to win, and electric scenes there at the graveyard at Wellington College. It will be an absolute doozy. Well, there's been the Huddy Hui for tonight. Many thanks to our guests, Adam McRandle and Tim Johnson. I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.